to that, God wants to see our marriage to be successful.
Yes, He does. Yes, He does.
Yeah.
And remember, one of the things that we tell married couples when we're coaching them is that we always said one of the things that's really going to hold your marriage together is having mutual trust and respect for one another. It's very key. If you respect one another, you will not say things that you won't call each other out of your name. You won't say things that you'll try as much as you can not to be hurtful. And then also, if you understand that you love one another, you'll also understand that when I'm saying something to you, you understand that I'm not trying to say this to hurt you.
Right.
If I'm saying it, it's because it's something that's bothering me, or it's something that it's going to be helpful in our marriage. So keeping that in mind is a good way, and not thinking, oh, he doesn't love me because he said, or she doesn't love me because she said, because we understand that we love each other, and anything that we do or say, we're always trying to help, better, or help increase our level of understanding.
And so if I'm going to say something that I think might be borderline, I watch my tone. I try to deal with the amplification of my voice.
Okay.
Because sometimes the way the message is delivered has a huge bearing on how the recipient receives or processes that information.
Very true. Very true.
I can say I don't mean to hurt you, or I wasn't trying to hurt you, but the delivery or the tone of my voice could be otherwise.
True.
So we had to be very careful, and that's a learning process.
It is, and it wasn't, and we're still learning. We're still
learning
because even after 33 years, sometimes we still have misunderstandings. You'll say something and I'll take it the wrong way, or I'll say something and you take it the wrong way, and we have to kind of come back and start over again and say, okay, let's get this straight and let's get this together, which is something that has always helped us. Because come back.
Because we know underlying whatever's being said, whatever's going on, underlying the bedrock of our marriages, I know you love me.
Yes.
And you know I love you.
Yes.
So no matter what is going on up here, that foundational thing that we have established is we love one another.
Yes, and I try to remember, something that you may have done that hurts me, or something you may have said is totally separate from you love me. It has nothing to do with, oh, he doesn't love me because he said or because he did. I know he loves me. So that's the foundation, as you said, is right there. And then the other things are, okay, these are the things we got to kind of work through, but we already know, we've already established that we love one another.
Yeah.
All right. So this has been very good.
Yeah.
Okay, honey, let's talk about intimacy in marriage.
All right.
All right. And how important is it? I believe that intimacy is extremely vital in marriage, and not just sexual. We'll put that to the side for a minute. It's just for a minute. But being intimate, that means really getting to know each other. And there's some things that we do to really get to know each other. One of the things that I like is usually, and my favorite time is when we're on vacation. I feel that when we're on vacation, I feel very free to talk about just about anything. And I don't know if it's because it's a change of scenery, because I'm not at home, because one of the things that we do, if you remember, when we go on vacation is we say, we're not going to talk about church, we're not going to talk about the children. Yeah. Which is very tough to do, because those have been two huge, significant parts of our lives that we can't seem to separate. And every once in a while we do talk a little bit about it, but we like to kind of talk about each other. What are some things that we like about each other, things that we admire, things that we can change, things that we never liked about each other, not that we didn't like about each other, things that we do that maybe we don't like as much, or kind of get on each other's nerves and things like that. I love doing that, and I feel so much freer, like I said, doing it on vacation. But what are things that you do, or things that you think about when you're thinking about intimacy in marriage?
Talking and sharing thoughts is important to me. Okay. Because for 30-some years, you've been my biggest my most ardent cheerleader and supporter.
Yes.
And I've enjoyed sharing dreams and ambitions with you, concerns with you. And I think, I like to think that I've done the same thing for you as well.
Well, let me stop you there. Actually, you have. And one of the things that really, really helps me is when you just kind of, I feel like you pump confidence into me. Sometimes I'm very good at saying I can't do such and such things, but you have a way of coming in and walking me through step by step how much you'll tell me how much I'm qualified to do this, how I should do this, how wonderful it will be, how you know it's in me, and that just kind of boosts and builds my confidence and makes me want to feel, and it actually makes me feel like I can do it, and then that kind of helps me and pushes me to tackle things that ordinarily I wouldn't do. Because when we were married, as you remember, I was very, very shy, very timid, and I didn't say much of anything. And as we, progressed in our marriage, I finally found my voice. And I finally found that, hey, I can say how I feel. I can say, what I would like to say to you without thinking that, oh, he's not going to love me, or he's going to get mad at me. So that has kind of like emboldened me and helped me. And that's one of the things that I really credit you for, is because you have a way of always pushing me to try different things, to do new things, and it has been wonderful.
I think that's important for the success and fulfillment of any marriage, is for the one spouse, you get to love that person enough to want to see them at their very best.
Yes. Because
when they're at their best, then that helps you be at your best.
Yes.
And as long as that is reciprocated, that's great, because now when you're both operating in that way, I know whatever you do, if I promote it, doesn't take away from me.
Yes.
And vice versa. It's not like, you succeed at my expense.
Yes.
No, we both go up together because we're one.
Yes.
And that is a part of, I think, of intimacy that people kind of miss.
Yes, and I think, and the wonderful thing is that when you see me do certain things, you don't get jealous or feel slighted because oh, she's trying to get above me or anything like that. You are always like so proud, and which is something that I love, when you feel like you're so proud that my wife is doing such and such things, and we discuss things together, and I say, honey, what do you think about me doing such and such? And you'll be like, yes, honey, go ahead, go for it. And same thing with you, of course, when you'll come and say, hey, honey, what do you think about me doing such and such? And I'll be like, okay. And even when, one of the things that comes to mind is when I wanted to go back to school. I remember when I wanted to go back to school and finish my degree, I sat down and we talked about it, and you said, honey, yeah, sure, go for it. And I said, well, honey, you understand that means you're gonna have to pick up more stuff at the house. You're gonna have to pick up, and do more with the children, because the children were younger then. And you were like, fine, go ahead. So we did, and you understood that, I had to take time to study while you were, cooking or checking homework with the girls and doing some of the things that I used to do. So you picked up more of the slack for that period of time. And I think throughout our lives, there have been different periods of times where, you're doing more outside the house and I have to pick up more inside, or I'm doing more outside the house and then you pick up the inside. So, but I think it's, in that way, it has been kind of a balance for us.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay, so now let's talk about how do we safeguard our marriage from, outside influences and, people maybe who try to horn in or, try to get between us in our marriage.
Well, the thought that comes to mind readily is the fact that some people will interfere without them even knowing that they're interfering. But the key is we have to allow it. Some people mean to do your marriage damage. They mean to.
True.
But some out of ignorance, some out of being biased, they could inflict harm. But the key is we have to allow them to do.
That's true.
And I believe early on, you and I decided nobody, nothing is going to come between us in our marriage. Nothing.
Nothing. And that includes our children. That's something that we, and I know that a lot of younger couples who have children, you know, once children come into the picture, it becomes all about the children. We were a little bit different in that we didn't always make our lives all about our children. We loved our kids, we did things with our kids and for our kids, but we never made our kids our everything. We always understood and always fell back on us. And we always made sure that us was a big part of the family. And that's the thing that, you know, we had to get, the kids had to understand as they were growing up. So they understood. I remember you know, opening doors. Mom always goes in first, you know, because mom's the queen of the house. And then I would do things like, you know, my kids would say, hey mom, why can't we have, you know, such and such for dinner? I said, well, your dad can't eat that. And they're like, well, you know, it doesn't matter. How about us? We like it. I said, this is your dad's house, and we are not eating that. So, you know, not allowing even children or parents. Or parents, that's another thing, because parents, you know, sometimes ignorantly try to, they kind of interfere in marriages. Even slight things like, you know, trying to borrow money from one and trying to get you not to tell the other one, you know, and things like that. So, or to some parents, you know, my mom wasn't this way, but some moms feel like, you know, he's always going to be my little boy. Or the dad might feel, she's always going to be my little girl. Well, no, I'm not your little boy. I'm Vivian's husband. She's not your little girl. She's my wife. And so that can be a bitter pill for parents to swallow. But it's necessary to have a healthy marriage. And other things that we didn't do is talk to our parents about one another. That's also, I think, a big mistake that younger couples do is always turning to the parents and telling them about the other, about their spouse. I think that's just not good practice. And even talking against your spouse was something that we never got in the practice of talking against, you know, me to friends with my friends and talking about, you know, things that I don't like about you, or you getting together with your friends and talking about things that you didn't like about me. So things like that are things that I think you really got to be careful not to allow to influence your marriage. Another one that people don't think about is stuff like television. You know, things that they watch, all this romanticism and all these different things. You can kind of get swept away in that. And then you come home and it's like, your expectations are here. And then no one could ever, you know, your husband comes home and they can't meet your expectations. So that's another thing that you got to be careful of. Because it's unrealistic. It's fantasy. It's fantasy. It's not real. They're not even really married in real life, so don't fall for that. All right, let's talk about friendship and marriage. All right, and I love that our marriage also, that besides being married as a couple, that you and I are best friends. We have fun together. We love spending time together. We love doing things together. And we have fun together. Yes. We laugh together. We laugh together, yes. We joke together. We joke together, yes. And our relationship, I say we started off as friends. Of course, you probably think differently because you had you had something else on your mind. But when we started off, for me, I started off, you befriended me, which I liked. I did. I'm glad you didn't come in and say, I'm here to marry you. But we took time to develop a friendship, to get to know each other. But and I had a plan. Yeah, I'm sure you did. I'm sure you did. Writing letters, I remember, I still have all my love letters. But they didn't start out as love letters. They did not start off as love letters. And it's funny because reading them now, I see the gradual process of us falling in love, as opposed to you know, back then I was just saying, oh, it's my friend, it's my friend. But I love writing letters, but also because when we wrote letters, because back in our day, we couldn't afford to do long distance calls. So we may have called each other once a month. So we had to write. So we wrote often. And I would write him like 1-2 page letters. He would write 4 and 5 page letters. Novels almost. Yes, they are. We need to get them published.
I had a lot to say.
Yes, you did. Yes, you did. You always had a lot to say. And I was a lot more shy then. But the thing about the letters, though, is that when you write letters, there's some things that you can say that sometimes you don't feel comfortable sharing in person. So I think the letters kind of helped me be able to get some things out that I wanted to share with you that I was kind of scared, especially because I was really shy. And I was very scared to tell you about it, but it seemed to be easier just putting it in a letter.
But I think for couples today, I don't know why, but it seems like couples work harder at being married than they work at being friends.
Yes.
I think if you can befriend your spouse, marriage would be easier.
Yes.
You know, learn not how to take yourself so seriously.
Yes.
You know, take a joke every now and then, laugh every now and then, do something fun together. Doing laundry ain't fun. You know, changing baby's diapers is not fun. But, you know, having our wiffle ball games outside.
Yes, the kids hate it, by the way, but it was fun because they look back on it fondly now. And those are memories. And
tell the story about you hiding the girls.
The girls. Okay, I got to tell this story. All right, we had this thing every fall. My husband would gather the girls and he would start singing this song saying, "We are raking leaves. I got all my daughters with me." Sister Sledge, we're dating ourselves. So anyway, you know, they would have to come outside and I would sit on the porch and watch them as they were, you know, raking leaves and whatnot. So this particular day, my husband happened to go in the backyard and I took the girls and I told them, "Come on, girls," and I hid them under the leaves. So they were all hiding under the leaves. Yes, it was bad. So then when my husband came around the front, I was like, "Oh my gosh, honey, I can't find the girl. I don't know where they went." So my husband's running up and down the street yelling their names.
Almost crying.
We're, you know, looking for the girls. And then, then the girls pop up out of the leaves.
Did you repent for that? You should have.
So it was so funny. So of course we had a great laugh. I did, and the girls did. My husband did not think it was funny.
It took you a while.
It took a while. Now he can look back on it fondly, but back then he was not happy. Yeah. But again, it was fun. It was things that we did. You know, you definitely were a force that had us. You were determined that our family, that we were going to have fun. You were determined. Because we struggled, we still had to find ways to have fun. Yes. Because if not, you're sitting around and you mope about what you don't have. Exactly. And I think if you do that, you forget what you do have. Yes. No, we didn't have brand new cars, but we had a clean, nice house. We had a nice family. And so I think, again, laughing and having fun takes the edge off and allows you to focus on what you do have, rather than what you don't have. That's very true. Because I remember some days us going on picnics, totally free. We would pack a lunch, take the girls, and we go out and just have a picnic, or go to the library, or go to the park. You know, different things, things that didn't cost money because we just didn't have the money. We didn't have the money, but we still yet wanted to give something to our girls that they would be able to remember, and we wanted to create memories that they would remember fondly looking back on their families now. So, honey, thank you for joining me in this conversation. I enjoyed it. I did. Okay. Well, we're glad. We thank you so much for joining us in this conversation, and we hope that you stay tuned for the second part of the marriage love video.